Welcome to the future, where the glass is half full and you'll need new glasses, where you'll be jumping from conclusions.
The past is annulled, and a new future is born.
Never before in history has so much meant so little to so many. AD on the radio.
You know, I've been trying to think of the right comparison. When it comes to, well, you ever used to, you wouldn't lie to your parents, so to speak, because if you got caught in a lie, ooh, you would know about it. Lying. Once you discover lying as a kid, it's a magical, magical thing. It really is. Did you wash your hands? Yes. How come they don't smell like soap? Well, define wash. There was water involved. You ever do this? You ever do this as a kid? I don't know. Like, I'm so fastidiously clean now. Like, I am such a freaking germaphobe that I have no idea how I evolved into what I am now from a kid who would do anything to get out of the idea of washing his hands. But my parents would tell me to wash my hands. And I would have been outside playing in the dirt all day, and there would be every reason for me to wash my hands and brush underneath my fingernails because there was God knows what underneath them. And so I would just like run my hands under the water, and my mom and dad would be like, use soap. I'd be like, okay. And I would pretend to, and I guess maybe I was just testing my parents' boundaries. I think kids do that. Maybe I wanted to be clean, but I wanted to test my parents more. Oh God, it's got to be exhausting having kids. But I used to go up to the little soap dispenser and act like I was dispensing some onto my hand, then run it under the water. My parents got wise to this, as parents do, and they started, and again, sorry, Mom and Dad, and it's got to be so exhausting having kids because there's just no logic or no reason as to why a kid would go through all this stuff just to try and put one over on their parents. I guess it's fun. Feeling like you fooled your folks. I don't know why I would do this, but they would see that I wasn't actually putting soap on my hands. I was just pretending to put the soap on, then washing my hands and sitting at the dinner table feeling like I was all sneaky and whatnot. And then they started being like, okay, all right, it's come to this? Really? It's come to this? Let me smell your hands. Do they smell like soap? No, go back and wash them with soap. Why are you doing this? I don't know. I just do it. I'm compelled to. I'm not sure why. But good job, you caught me. I'm going to evolve this scheme now and make it more difficult to catch me. And what I then started doing, I used to try and sneak in and not wash my hands before dinner. Then I would just wet my hands before dinner. Then I would pretend to use soap and just wet my hands before dinner. Also, I could feel like I had the upper hand when it came to my parents. And finally, when they started smelling my hands to see if it smelled like soap, and cut to, by the way, I am now an adult that, like, once I discovered hand sanitizer, I was like, oh, this is great. Maybe my wrists are dirty. Maybe my forearms are dirty. Maybe my elbows are dirty. And I actually had to stop myself because I was like doing my whole arm and up to my shoulder, under my shirt, you know, just like you feel like there's just, once you feel like part of your body is clean, the rest of it feels indisputably grimy by comparison. And how I went from a kid that would do anything he could to stop from washing his hands before dinner time to someone that bathes in hand sanitizer on a regular basis, I'm not sure. But the last part of my scheme, when it came to trying to get out of washing the old hands, was what I would do, because I've been caught not washing and just rinsing and then pretending to use soap. What I would do was I just put a little soap on part of my hand so that way it would smell like I'd washed my hands even though I hadn't. And then I realized my idiot moron 8-year-old, 9-year-old brain figured out, hey, jerk, you think you're putting one over on your parents, but really what you just did was came in the house, went over, put soap and water on your hands, and sat down at the dinner table. And I realized, at this stage in the game, I'm really washing my hands, so I might as well go the whole way. And from there on, I think that's when my fastidious cleanliness started to develop. And I found new and different ways to tell my parents half-truths. I feel like I'd gotten one over on them. I found new and different ways to test them. Sorry, Mom and Dad. I don't know what compelled me to do it. I think it's something that I've carried with me the rest of my life. I think that's the seeds of punk rock being born in you. I think it was because I got hold of a Black Flag tape too early. The ideas of questioning authority, no matter what the authority was telling you to question, got instilled awfully early. But the idea of not straight up lies, but half-truths, I don't know. Being such an astute practitioner of it when I was 8 makes it easy to spot in this day and age. And I spotted one this week. I wonder if you did as well. We'll talk about it. It has to do with regulations.
Where the left and right come together for fundamental truths. AD on the radio, on Twitter at ADSXE.
So, did you do that stuff when you were a kid? Did you? Well, I mean, you'd been told that under no circumstances should you lie. So you become an astute user and abuser of the concept of half-truths when you are 8, 9, 10 years old. Hand washing, bath taking, homework. Did you or did you not watch that television show that you were supposed to watch? Or not supposed to watch, rather? I don't ever remember being required to watch a television show. Did you take out the garbage? The garbage wasn't full. It was when I looked. Well, look again. Just because you shoved it all the way down so it looks like it's emptier now doesn't mean that it doesn't need to be taken out. I told you to take it out. Take it out. Well, my chore is to take it out when it's full, and it's not full now. Oh, exhausting process. Exhausting process that 8, 9, 10-year-olds put their parents through. Exhausting process that politicians put their people through. It's just, I don't know. Maybe we stop playing that game when we grow up so we don't turn into fully functioning adults that can catch this sort of thing as quickly as we did when we were kids, when we were using the half-truths to our advantage, to buy us time, to get out of the inevitable chore that we knew that we had to do. Politicians have made careers out of this stuff on both sides of the equation. And I'll tell you one thing that I spotted. Not so long ago. If you are like me, well, I'm a conflicted individual, but if you're like me, you kind of believe in the free market economy. I guess when it comes down to it, because, and you know what's kind of interesting? I find a lot of people in the world of entertainment, when it comes down to it, are into that as well. Because entertainment, you know who's going to get you there? You. I mean, eventually maybe you have a manager or an agent or something like that, but anybody that's made anything of themselves in the world of, say, music, oh man, music is a tough life. That is a hard road to hoe. And if you've made something of yourself in music, I don't care how awful that music is. I don't care what a waste of space and teeny bopperish garbage it is. I don't care how much you're contributing to the moronification of the listening audience of America. If you've arrived at a place in music where you were successful, chances are you worked very, 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 very hard in most instances to get there. There are some exceptions where there's the so-called overnight success, but 9 times out of 10, you're going to find that someone who experiences overnight success has put in 10 to 15 years of graft before that in some way, shape, or form. But it's interesting. That idea of, I think, the free market and do it for yourself, and you're going to be stronger if you get there on your own, and all of the above, I find a lot of people in entertainment have that. Because they did it, why can't anybody else do it? Why can't everybody else do it? Put in the work. It's rewarding. That's how a lot of people feel. That's how I feel. And so for that reason, I guess that kind of makes me a bit of a fan of the idea of laissez-faire free market capitalism. But I'm a conflicted individual because, well, as you know, if you've listened to the show for any length of time, I believe that you should be pulling yourself up by your own bootstraps. I believe that you should be going after it with the gusto and making something of yourself in any way, shape, or form that you can. But I also believe that a veteran that gets cancer shouldn't have to start a GoFundMe page. I believe that if you break your leg, you shouldn't be forced to lose your house. So like I said, conflicted. Does that make sense? I think a lot of people fall into that category. People should work and achieve things and make something of themselves. But also, for those hardworking folks, it would be nice if you didn't lose your house because you broke a leg and had to miss work. And it all crumbled from there. So I guess I'm sort of a fan of the idea of deregulating the economy in some ways. And free market capitalism in some ways. And the idea of deregulation is an interesting one. I was talking to a buddy of mine who's like a hardcore Trump fan the other day. And he was like, yeah, you see those executive orders? I was like, which ones are you talking about? And we got chit-chatting. And basically, they have to do with removing regulations. Making it easier to do business within America, these United States of America. Everything from car manufacturing to pipeline projects. And there's also an executive order. You go, hey, great. He said he would deregulate the economy and make it easier to hire American and buy American and create American and yada, yada, yada. And well, there you go. Deregulation. That's the upside of deregulation. A lot of people feel it's easy on the entrepreneur. If you want to start a business, you're much better off starting that business in a place like Texas, where the economy isn't so regulated, where there are systems in place, freedoms in place that allow somebody who makes really good hot dogs or really good tacos to grow that taco business into something large and formidable that they own and can be proud of. In places where the economy and business is heavily regulated, it's much more difficult for the individual to get off the ground. It takes more than a dream and hard work, and a job done well. There's so many things that are prohibitive. A buddy of mine opened up a comic book store. And when the minimum wage thing came in, he was like, there goes my comic book store dream. He was like, I got people that want to work in a comic book store so bad they don't care that I can only pay them $8 an hour and can't provide health insurance. And that was fine up till now. And now the dream is dead because I can't. Okay. So the idea of deregulation from the perspective of folks like that is a good thing. But let's dig a little bit further into this word regulation. We'll do that next.
Leave the stimulation to the professionals.
Everyone is so smart.
KBRC, more stimulating talk radio.
Don't get the blues, get all the news. We mean all of you guys out there in Radio Land.
All aboard!
He's back. AD on the radio.
Give it up, yeah. Give it up, yeah. Bring this on. Come on.
So a buddy of mine, hardcore Trump fan, he was like, Trump's doing exactly what he said he would. He is removing regulations. And we got talking about this. Regulations, like which regulations specifically? And we got talking about these executive orders, which basically are doing things like changing how business is done in America, making it easier. The idea is for cars to be made in America, making it easier to provide jobs in America. And let's take how you feel from an environmental standpoint out of the equation when we discuss pipeline products. Let's just, that's a conversation for another day. Let's just look at the bare bone facts of this situation and deregulating the American economy through these executive orders. These executive orders, meant to expedite approval of pipeline products, involve removing regulations that would inhibit them being built. But there's another executive order which says, hey, let's bring jobs back to America. If we're going to build this pipeline, you must use American-made pipeline and pipeline supplies. That's a regulation. With the car thing, deregulating the economy is going to bring jobs back to America. And do you remember before he was even president, Donald Trump went after car manufacturers on Twitter. Hey, General Motors, you make your cars in America or you face a heavy border tax. Oh, I think we'll make our cars in America. Now, a border tax, is that a regulation? Well, if it looks like a duck and quacks like a duck, that duck is telling you that while you don't have to make your cars in America, it's going to cost you an arm and a freaking leg to do it outside of America. And that's not the free market. That's a regulation, is what that is. And so for people that are all upset about the idea of the economy being deregulated, don't worry, it's really not. At least not yet. And for the people that are jumping up and down, high-fiving, going, yeah, we're deregulating the economy. Okay. Whatever helps you sleep through the night. But, I mean, look, all the things that we're talking about here, bottom line is, it's bringing job and production to America. And you know what? I'm good with that. I'm good with 700 assembly line workers having a job in Michigan as opposed to in Mexico. I think these are good things. But the people who fall for this thing hook, line, and sinker and think this is anything but a regulation are, well, what are they doing? You know what? You know who put it the best? Tom Waits. You ever hear what Tom Waits had to say about truth and lies? Tom Waits said, most people don't care if you're telling them the truth or if you're telling them a lie, as long as they're entertained by it. Are we not entertained? Hey, Funkhouser, you're playing the field, right? You're out there again, trying to be in a position where you get to possibly see and or touch a boob in the not too distant future.
Sounds like it.
Sounds like it. That's how when you get into a new relationship, do you have you've got a set of regulations within yourself, don't you? You've got these are the things that will work for me. These are the things that I must have. These are the things that I'm flexible on. Do you kind of spell that stuff out for somebody that you start dating before you get too serious?
I guess I wasn't doing that good of a job at it because I guess I do it in interview form subconsciously. I've been known to ask too many questions in the first 5 or 6 dates.
Didn't one girl that you went on a date with not so long ago say that it feels like you're asking me questions from a list, and you were? What about the old bow chicka wow wow situation? I mean, this is, bedroom activities, or oftentimes lack thereof, are a big deal. For men and for women, I think. You settle into a relationship and there's going to be a certain amount of pressure and a certain amount of expectation. And it's one of those things where it appears indelicate in the early stages of a relationship to say, all right, nice to meet you. How's your coffee? Oh, it's good. Good. By the way, I expect it 2 to 3 times a week or, a minimum of 8 times a month. I don't care if that happens in the first or last week. As long as that's happening, well, I'm good with it. Do you lay down those laws, rules, specifications?
Oh, no. I don't really care about that kind of stuff. Just as long as, we like the same TV shows and stuff. We'll figure out all the other things.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting because I think that particularly, the issue of getting busy is an issue that is often skirted around, and I think it just becomes a bigger and bigger problem as the relationship wears on. Because when you first start dating, you're all like, "Woohoo! This is awesome! I've been single for a while. This is cool. This is great. And hey, this is lots of fun, and we're having fun." And then things get serious, and you start, sharing a place that you live, and you start worrying about bills together, and who walked the dog? Did you walk the dog? Did you leave the garage door open? All these things kind of creep into it that kind of take a little bit of the vim and vigor out of that side of life. And it's a sad story that plays out over and over again.
Men and women are on different levels when it comes to sex. Sex is very important to a man. Very important. I mean, look, they discovered Viagra, right? And don't think they just started working on that. They've been working on that for a long time. That's been way ahead of cancer, heart disease, scurvy, tuberculosis, the common cold, smallpox. Anything that they killed along the way, they just stumbled across it trying to find Viagra.
It's kind of true. You know, I had a dog that had a heart problem once, and they're like, okay, we're going to put your dog on sildenafil. I was like, all right, cool. What exactly is sildenafil? They're like, actually, basically, it's what Viagra was developed to do. It's, easier breathing and better heart function and all this sort of stuff. And I was like, all right, okay, now I know. And open up the prescription bottle for my female dog, and in it are a bunch of little blue diamond pills with an F on them for Pfizer. And I was like, fortunately, I'm not at the stage in my life where I've had to get these for myself, but aren't these, isn't this, am I giving my Yorkie Viagra? Is that what is happening here? And I called the vet, and I was just like, hey, this heart medication that you gave my dog looks a lot like Viagra. Like it is Viagra. That's what Viagra was developed to be. Heart medication. The other effects, the other effects were a happy accident, which I knew about. I just didn't know you could substitute Viagra for canine heart medication the way that they did. And I remember calling a buddy of mine and telling me that. He was like, I'll buy all of them off you. I was like, no, I'd rather have my dog comfortable than you resuscitate your love life that's on life support. He was like,
okay, I'll buy
you don't
half
understand
of
how
them
much. Yeah. It was just. And he was like, oh, man, I wish I had a dog that had a heart problem. One for me, one for them.
Okay,
I was like,
I'll buy your
dude,
dog. Give me your dog.
Yeah, it was really weird and really uncomfortable. And I was like, dude, my dog is sick. That's not cool. Shut up. But I was just like amazed. I was like, oh, wait, I'm giving my I'm giving a Yorkshire Terrier actual Viagra. It's very, very strange. Oh, speaking of strange, what's going on in the world, Funkhouser? What is happening?
Oh, geez. Here we go.
All right.
This is My Witness News. In no way, shape, or form fair and certainly not balanced. And now, super producer to the stars, Barry Funkhouser.
Yes.
I was waiting for the multiple Barry Funkhausers.
Just one today.
You downplayed your own importance today.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
There's much more important things in the world today than my
Very
name.
modest and humble of
5
you,
times.
Funkhouser.
Thank you. The official title of Star Wars 8 will be The Last Jedi.
Yeah. People very, very excited about this. Star Wars 8, The Last Jedi. Because shut up and hand us your money while we force feed you a remake of The Empire Strikes Back wouldn't fit on the marquee, but... And you know what? I think people would be happy if it was that remake. I'm just going to talk as though you're not here anymore, Funkhouser, just because you've never seen Star Wars.
Yeah.
But like,
I've already started thinking about something else, so go ahead.
The first Star Wars movie it had so many similarities to the original Star Wars movie, the very first one that everybody saw back in 1978. And people loved that. People loved the throwback stuff. People thought that was freaking great. So it's pretty safe to assume that Star Wars 8, The Last Jedi, will bear a striking similarity to The Empire Strikes Back. There you go. What else?
The Oscar nominees are announced this morning.
Or as non-white comedians and actors know it, Tuesday. Star Wars The Last Jedi. Episode 8. I would imagine Episode 9 would be like, just kidding, there's actually a bunch more Jedis. Why'd I put all my money on howdy, kids? It's me, Jar Jar. Again, something you don't understand, Funkhouser, but trust me, those of us that are Star Wars
What an
addicts,
annoying character he was. Die.
Right? Or something?
You just did Yoda's vocal... You just did Yodels. You just did Yoda's sentence structure for Jar Jar, but that's cool. A lot of people thought Jar Jar was racist because it looked as though Jar Jar had dreadlocks and he talked in an accent that was sort of like obviously Jamaican, and he wasn't the brightest bulb, and people were like, we think that's not okay. However, because he's an alien, we can't say it's not okay. It was very uncomfortable. Least popular Star Wars character ever. Go on, what else?
Fox News has cut ties with Stacey Dash.
Well,
Oh.
I mean, you got to make room for Scott Baio. Everybody's expendable. Go on.
Next month, Alec Baldwin will host SNL for a record-breaking 17th time.
17 times.
Beat Tom Hanks' record, huh?
Oh, was Tom Hanks
Steve
16
Martin?
or something?
Something like that. I don't know, those guys.
I mean, Steve Martin did Steve Martin start out on Saturday Night Live? I think he did.
Yeah.
He was like a cast member of Saturday Night Live. So I wonder, wow. Record-breaking 17th time. Another record that will be broken the night that Alec Baldwin hosts Saturday Night Live for a record-breaking number of times is the number of angry presidential tweets sent out, I believe. Go on.
In an interview about Donald Trump, Scott Baio said he doesn't want to be called Chachi anymore.
Uh-huh. Yeah. No more calling Scott Baio Chachi. He prefers the significantly more dignified Charles in Charge. Did you watch Charles in Charge growing up, Funkhouser? Was that a thing for you?
Nope.
I thought it had like the catchiest theme song. Go on.
In the new season of American Crime Story, it'll be about Monica Lewinsky.
You know what? I'm going to go on a limb and guess it's going to suck. Wait for it. There it is. Let's move straight. Let's move Oh, thank you. Thank you very much. Oh, thank you, Anderson Cooper. Thank you. It's amazing how Anderson Cooper shows up to laugh at the worst jokes on the show. Continue.
The Ferrari from Magnum P.I. is up for auction.
No kidding. Did you like Magnum P.I.?
There's another one I did not see.
You did not see or did not like?
I'm too young for these things.
But, I mean, reruns. They were rerun ad infinitum.
Yeah.
You know what? I think a part of the reason that I've seen a lot of this stuff is because, like, it didn't hit England until years later. Like, I think Magnum P.I. played in England until, like, 1992 or something like that. Hold on. When did Magnum P.I. end? To Google. Magnum P.I. from 1980 to 1988.
We were way off. Oh, 92? I guess that makes sense.
Yeah, so like no, I know I was watching it. I know I was watching it in England in the 90s. It used to be on late at night. I guess I was watching reruns, but yeah. I love Magnum P.I. I love Magnum P.I. because like Tom Selleck, I don't think Tom Selleck's capable of playing anything but nice. Mind you, I've only ever seen him in Magnum P.I. and Friends. But he seems like a nice guy, and Magnum seemed like a nice guy. I was like, look, this guy wins by being tough, but nice. Anyways, Ferrari from Magnum P.I. up for auction. Meanwhile, the mustache from Magnum P.I. is on Steve Harvey.
Real Radio. Real Radio. 104.1.
Now, more AD on the radio.
Alrighty then, Funkhouser. Donald Trump did something really, really freaking cool. And you know what? If you're not a Donald Trump fan, understand. What I'm trying to do is provide a little bit of good news here. He did something really, really cool. And there's so much pettiness and bravado and thin-skinned rambling going on his Twitter feed that it's going to obscure a lot of things that you have every right to feel happy about moving forward. So I want to bring this up. It's something that Trump did. I think it's awesome, and I hope we see an awful lot more of this moving forward. Stay with me on this one. We'll get into it after we finish up the news. What else is going on, Funkhouser?
Some researchers think we shower too much.
Really?
Not me.
Not a problem here, replied Kid Rock, and apparently Funkhouser as well. Well, hold on. How often do you shower? Am I about to be extra glad that we work in separate studios? Through the magic of...
Okay, so I used to do like 2 a day until recently. Now I'm like every other day.
Every other day. Every other day. Do you shower more in the summertime?
Yeah. Yeah. Oh. Yeah. 'Cause it's all gross, hot.
Girls shower literally all the time. At least every girl I've ever spoken to about this. Guys kind of like chill on the showering when it comes time for winter. And you know what? It does become more unpleasant to shower during the winter if you don't have the heat cranked or something. Like you get out of the shower and it's really cold and unpleasant, and you're like, yeah, no, I understand it. It makes vague sense to me, but I could not join the every other day thing. The 2 showers a day stuff, unless you're like going to the gym, I find that to be excessive. And I think that's what researchers are talking about. It's sort of like it basically dries you out. It makes your skin more susceptible to infections and bacteria and things like that. We've become so clean. I mean, look at me. I'm a guy that douses myself in hand sanitizer every single day before and after leaving the studio. And, you know, that's got to have some horrific effect on my skin, and ultimately it's going to cause some sort of crack in the surface, and something could get in through that crack, which I will then wipe out with more hand sanitizer, but it's not a good perpetuating circle to be locked into. But I think that's what they're getting at. But, like, when do you shower? Do you shower in the morning or at night?
I shower in the morning, and, well, I used to. Now I have a roommate that lives in the bathroom, so I shower whenever I have time. Mm.
Oh, well, yeah, you have a female roommate, so there you go. That's going to cut into your. That's going to cut into the availability of the bathroom. All right. I'm beginning to understand how this happened, Funkhouser. I am no longer skeeved. I am empathetic and understanding to your filthy, filthy plight. I shower before going to bed. Like, it helps me calm the hell down and get to sleep. And I know so many people are like, ugh, do you shower first thing in the morning? And I'm like, no. They're like, well, you're just getting disgusting and sweaty at night. That's gross. I'm like, I don't know how much other people are sweating in their sleep. I have problems sleeping, especially when it's too hot and it does involve some tossing and turning. But generally speaking, I'm not a real sweaty sleeper, I don't think. But so I tell people that I shower at night and then not again in the morning, and they're just like, disgusting, gross. You, sir, are revolting. And I was like, I don't. Does that hang together for you, Funkhouser? Do you think it's gross to shower at night and then not in the morning?
No, well,
Mr. Every Other?
It depends on your night, I think.
Right. Yeah. Man, there is nothing better. There is nothing better than doing laundry, having fresh made sheets, just making your bed, like, so everything on the bed is new, and then showering and getting into it. Those are the times in life where I think I'm the happiest. When I'm clean and the bed is clean. When we're both pristine. I'm straight out of the shower, the sheets are straight out of the dryer, and just, it's the little things. It's the little things. What else?
President Trump has chosen his candidate for the head of the FCC. It's not us.
Oh. Hopefully his platforms include making The Walking Dead great again, because the last season sucked. Go on.
The Secret Service may be interested in talking to Madonna because she joked about blowing up the White House.
You know, outrageously stupid thing to say. Like, what did you... come on, man. Like, you can't be a person of note, grab a microphone, and say you want to blow up the White House. It's just, like...
Can you be a non-person of note and say that? I don't think you can even then.
No, but I mean, like, you know... Like, it's just, in no way, shape, or form was that something that she could expect to not come back on her in a tremendously negative way. Yeah. I think Madonna's cool with it, though. I think she's excited that the Secret Service wants to talk to her. Probably the first time in about a decade that any men have shown that kind of interest. Go on.
L.A. is drying out after getting hit by powerful winter storms the last few days.
Yeah, you're in Los Angeles.
I swam to work, a couple of them.
Yeah. What's it like in L.A. when it rains?
Not fun. Every mile I saw headlights because people spinning out on the freeways. It's just
really?
all water all the time.
Yeah. When it rains in L.A., you know about it. Nick Nolte actually looks like he's bathed. Bill Cosby's star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame is slippery from something other than women spitting on it. And the whole place smells like wet Kardashian. Go on.
A guy on
you know how else you can tell that it's been raining in L.A.? Scott Baio gives a lot more orders for soup from his customers at Applebee's.
I still don't really know who he is, and I'm glad about that.
Did you get hail in Los Angeles, Funkhouser?
No. Got a little snow.
I thought there was...
Oh, we got some hail? Oh, there's some hail going on. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I heard reports of Kevin Hart-sized hail.
Man, you heard that, man. That ain't funny, man.
How much time
Gonna beat you up. Like a minute, and then we got another one after this. We got a big chunk of show.
Let's just do news until we run
A guy
out of
on
time.
YouTube posted a video of himself counting to 100,000.
Oh. Video still way less mind-numbing than Al Gore's new documentary. How many views does that have, Funkhouser?
What?
The guy on YouTube counting to 100,000.
Maybe 100,000?
Hold on.
I don't know.
I'm going to look.
We'll check
How
in the
many
break
views
here.
does that silliness get? You'll find out when you come back. Ha ha!
Gangster, just a big mouth white boy prankster. Never been to jail, never shot a 9, never smack a hoe, but I know how to have a good time. I grew up in the suburbs, I went to private school. I stayed mostly out of trouble, mostly I obeyed the rules.
Houston's more stimulating talk radio, available anywhere you go on the iHeartRadio app. Download it now at kprcradio.com.
There's something happening here, and you should know what it is.
The dumbing up of America. Now, more AD on the radio.
So this guy who made a video of himself counting to 100,000 on YouTube basically never has to work again, Funkhouser.
What, he makes some click money?
Yeah, he's got 700,000 subscribers. And the video is, it's got 7 million views on it. Hold on, let's see. This is the video of, the original video is 40 hours long, but Adobe caps at 24 hours. This is the most I've ever tortured myself. Wow, so actually, this is an interesting one. Why? Because I am bored. Do you have a life? No. Who is the Asian slacker behind you? My best friend.
That's cute. Where did you go?
Oh, hold on.
39, 39, 64, 39, 65, 39, 66, 39, 67, 39, 68, 39, 69.
Yeah. I guess he goes to Harvard. Smart guy.
I'm bored now.
You're bored, but I would imagine the whole thing is, it's if you go through it and you watch the degradation of his face in it, because he stayed up for a really long time to do this. So he knew this was a video people were going to skip through. It's very, very clever, I guess, in a lot of ways. Go on. What else? More news, and then we'll talk about this thing that Donald Trump did that I hope to see a lot more of in the future.
1 in 10 people don't own a single book.
Mm-hmm. So they have something in common with the Kardashians. Do you own books, Funkhouser?
No. I mean, I own a single book, but I get my books on the web there.
Yeah. I love books. And you know what? It finally happened. It used to be I had to read a book. I have a library card. Go to the library. Take out books. For a germaphobe, participating in the idea of libraries is quite a stretch. But I love books. I love reading. I love opening up a book. And it's that smell of paper and print, that olfactory thing. I'm going to read this book now. I'm diving into it. I love everything about it. I hate the idea of anything on my hands, but getting a little bit of newsprint on my hands from a newspaper or a comic book, or that real visceral experience of holding a book in your hand is something that I am all about. And I never thought I could get into digital reading. I'd see people there with their Kindles, and I'd be like, well, that's kind of cool because you can read it in the sunshine. That's nifty, but that's not for me. And it finally happened. Because, well, I decided I wanted to reread a bunch of P.G. Wodehouse, and I was all set to go to the library. And I was like, I do have the Kindle app. I've never really used it. And I found that a whole bunch of my very favorite author in the world, please do yourself a favor, check out P.G. Wodehouse. It's the single greatest use of language ever. His ability to put one word after another in a way that makes it an absolute pleasure to read a sentence is unlike anybody else's. But I realized that P.G. Wodehouse has been around long enough that his books are in the public domain, so there are tons of them for free on Kindle. I was like, well, if it's free, it's for me. And also, like, I don't know what I want to read. I'm going to spend some time on planes over the holidays, and I don't want to be toting around, like, 15 books in my carry-on with me, and out of sheer boredom, I got into e-readers, and and now I'm spoiled for books. Like I finally came over to the digital side on it, and one day when I have space and more time to dust a bookshelf, I would love to have a bookshelf with all my favorite books in it. I think the power of suggestion, seeing a book and picking it up, is an awesome, awesome thing. If I ever have kids, I want to make sure there's books everywhere, because you are missing out by not reading. It just, like, there's so much of my time that gets frittered away working for the man, staring at Metallica and Red Hot Chili Peppers songs, trying to distinguish which ones are going to make iHeartRadio more money when I play them. But I decided I had to read more frequently, and so I've been on a real reading kick, and this has made it so much easier. And man, it's the absolute best. It's fantastic. It's escapism. I don't know why I'm sitting here talking about the joys of reading like I am a comprehension teacher to a bunch of sixth graders, but I think it's because the world is so go, 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 and we are so used to doing our reading on our phone, and what we're reading is our friends either talking about the lunch they just had, the lousy customer service experience they just went through, or their political beliefs on Facebook. We are dumbing ourselves down to the point where we are digging into bite-sized pieces of bumper sticker slogans on the internet, and that constitutes reading. That takes up so much of our time. Read a freaking book. And I'm saying this not because I'm assuming you don't, and I'm not being dictatorial. It's just I know for a long time I wasn't reading books the way I used to. And it's like starting to read more again was like meeting up with an old trusted friend who never let you down. It's an ability to escape, even if it's just for a few minutes a night before you fall asleep, into something awesome. You know, a lot of people that talk about hypnotism, trances, things like that. Like, it was funny when I had the idea of like transcendental meditation broken down to me by a soldier who did this, like to help himself recover from PTSD. I'd always been very interested in it. I was like, what's it all about? What's the deal? How is this a thing? Jerry Seinfeld and Howard Stern do it. What is it like? I want to know. And the guy who was using it to get over his PTSD, he's like, you ever get really wrapped up in a good book? I was like, yeah. And he's like, that's exactly what it's like. It is a peaceful focusing away to something that takes you out of all your daily problems for 10, 15 minutes. And that's a valuable thing. He was like, you can get it from a book, but a book is inconsistent. So I choose to do it through this meditation thing. But I was just like, wow. So reading is a powerful enough distraction that it can help soldiers get over PTSD. He was like, yeah, I've got friends that treat their PTSD by reading their favorite books. If it can do that, read a freaking book. It'll make the stresses of the day just go the hell away. Apparently, it helps reconnect different portions of your brain, strengthens your amygdala so you don't get stress responses in as horrible a way. Read for 15, 20 minutes a day. It's such an awesome, awesome thing to do, as long as what you're reading is not what your friend had for lunch and which politician they're mad at on Facebook. Funkhouser, how much time do we have left?
Like 6 or
6?
something.
All right, let's talk a little bit more news.
Exorcist star Linda Blair turned 58 yesterday.
Oh, happy birthday to Linda Blair from The Exorcist. Let's see I wonder how she looks at age 58.
I just saw her like 8 years ago. She looks great.
She really?
Yeah, I met her like 8 years ago. Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, there's a picture of her.
Looks great.
There's a picture of Linda Blair from The Exorcist at age 58. Ah. Still a head turner. Good for her. Go on.
Police arrested a man who pulled a fire alarm in the Pittsburgh Steelers hotel early Sunday morning before their NFC Championship game against New England.
Yeah, shenanigans at work. A man who happened to be from Boston got arrested because he pulled that fire alarm in the Pittsburgh Steelers hotel, depriving athletes of that thing that they need the most before a big game, sleep. And, they lost their NFC championship game. Police arrested this guy, but I believe released him from custody just in time for him to make it to the stadium to coach the Patriots. It's funny because the Patriots cheat. Go on, what else?
The Atlanta Falcons crushed the Green Bay Packers yesterday and will go to the Super Bowl. Or Sunday.
Yeah. Fans in Wisconsin haven't been this sad since the last time the McRib went away. It's funny because they're a stout people. Go on.
I like how you explain the jokes, too. This is really working. Johnny Manziel says he got sober on his own and he's ready to join an NFL team.
Yeah. I hope a team signs him. Because when they do, I will get incredibly rich by moving to that city and opening up a bar. Funkhouser, it's funny because he has a drinking problem. Go on. One more piece of news.
Sharks in the news. Shaq Charles Barkley on the set of Inside the NBA.
Again?
Shaq,
talking less like Shaq.
Shaq tackled Charles Barkley on the set of Inside the NBA.
Yeah. Explaining the earthquake. Those are two very large men. Like, they're humongous individuals. When the two of them collide, it's got to be literally earth-shaking. All right. Okay. Let's talk about something that Donald Trump did that I think was cool, and I hope we see more of. And by the way, like I've said it before, I will say it again. If you're a Trump detractor, if you're one of those people that thinks it's the end of the world that Donald Trump is president, just imagine how the people that voted for him will feel if he doesn't follow through on his promises and do the things that he said he would do for America, to make America great again, to hashtag MAGA. So I believe that the upside to the situation of Donald Trump being president is never before in the history of mankind have there been more judgmental eyes focused on a president of these United States of America. And the entirety of the world is ready to hold that guy to an incredibly high standard. It'll be interesting to see, if it ever comes, what the breaking point will be for Trump fans, people that are genuinely stoked about this situation. If Trump breaks a promise, if there's a moment that could be described, what's the most famous lie in American politics? Funkhouser.
What the what?
Most famous lie in American politics. I think there's two.
Mr. Gorbachev, tear down.
Well, that's not a wall. He told him to tear down the wall, and the wall got taken. I would say it was, I did not have sexual relations with that woman. Define sexual relations. I think that was one. And then the other one would be the guy right before him, George Bush Sr., Funkhouser. What do you suppose the... what do you suppose the untruth?
Read my lips.
Yeah. No. Read my lips, no new taxes. If the Trump presidency experiences one of those moments, a read my lips, no new taxes thing, bazinga new taxes, I can't imagine there's anyone that will come for him and come for him harder than the people that voted for him. And that I see as a good thing. To the people that voted for him, he set an incredibly high bar when it came to doing things that were right and good for America. And for that reason, I have a feeling that, ironically enough, people that are completely anti-Trump, your best friend in this situation when it comes to what's good for all of us, are the folks that voted for him. Politics make strange bedfellows, and I would go with it on this one. You voted for him, hold him to that high standard. Because I think they're going to. It's a weird upside that not many people saw coming, but I think it's a thing. Anyways, I hope this becomes a thing that all presidents do moving forward. Sadly, there's probably not hours in the day necessary to do it, but Trump personally called the family of Lieutenant Deborah Clayton. If you're not one of our listeners in Orlando, or if you weren't following this story, she's the Orlando police officer that was murdered by an absolute piece of human garbage. Florida's Attorney General, Pam Bondi, She said that in the days after Lieutenant Clayton was killed, Trump called her husband, Seth, and had conversations. Clayton was shot after she approached Markeith Lloyd, who was wanted at the time for the killing of his pregnant ex-girlfriend. The conversation was described as brief, very touching, and a private conversation between two husbands. I hope that this is something that continues. Thank you so much for joining me. I'll be back tomorrow. You and I will do this all over again, won't we, Funkhouser?
Oh, yeah.